Hello again, and welcome back to the What Is That Video series. My name is Tom Hewlett. I'm the Museum Collections Technician and Researcher here at the Esplanade Arts and Heritage Center in Medicine Hat. Now, I think there's a pretty good chance that most of you who see this video had breakfast. If not today, at least sometime this week. And I think there's a pretty good chance that you had toast for breakfast, which you probably made using an electric toaster. That's right, this week's artifact is a toaster. You might ask, why does the museum have a toaster? Or why is he featuring something so uninteresting as a breakfast appliance? Well, the fact is, most museums have quite a lot of pretty mundane items. These are the visual record of the daily lives of people. And what one person might see as a simple, unimportant item today might end up becoming really quite interesting and informative in 100 years. Every artifact has a story. So let's have a look at it now. Today, I'd like to show you a toaster from the earlier days of electricity in Medicine Hat. Toasters are an item which have undergone many changes over the decades, but ultimately have just one job to do: make a slice of bread hot and crispy. Toast has been part of European and much of North American breakfast traditions for centuries. It's usually a piece of bread cooked over heat to brown and become a bit more crispy. This browning is a Maillard reaction and begins at 310 degrees Fahrenheit, or 155 degrees Celsius, which is when the reaction between the amino acids and sugars result in browning and the distinctive flavor. This actually happens in many cooked foods. Prior to common household electricity and electric toasters, toast was still a staple on many breakfast tables. One traditional way to make toast is the British fried slice, which is a day-old stale slice of bread fried in a little bit of leftover bacon grease until crispy. It's very tasty, but maybe not so health conscious. You might also use a toasting fork and cook the bread over an open flame on the hearth or stove, much like we use a long fork to cook hot dogs on a campfire. There were also toasting grates, which were a wire frame into which a slice of bread could be placed and then heated over the stove or open flames. Electric toasters were introduced in England at the very end of the 19th century, when household electricity was just entering the market. But early toasters were not as user-friendly as they are today. They typically only toasted the bread on one side at a time and had to be watched constantly, as you needed to turn the bread manually. This particular example is made by the National Electric Heating Company of Toronto, and in use, you open the door, place your toast inside, close the door, wait until it's browned, open the door and turn the toast. This machine is mostly nickel-plated with two heating elements inside, and this type of toaster dates to sometime in the middle to later 1920s, and similar models can be seen here in the 1927 Sears Roebuck catalog. We don't know much about this particular toaster, as we have no story on its use in Medicine Hat, though it would likely have come from a middle-class household at that time. On a side note, it is almost exactly the same toaster as seen in an episode of Downton Abbey, where Mrs. Hughes, played by Phyllis Logan, experiments with an electric toaster not long after electricity is installed. Not surprisingly, to any person who has ever left the toaster unattended, the toast burns. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.